Okay, so now we're going to stretch this 18 by 30 inch of clay. So we're going to begin by putting it face down on my stretching table. Now you want to create a surface when you're stretching with a nice soft blanket or something that's going to not damage the artwork. And so we got that lined up nice. And then I'm going to get my stretcher bar. Now my first move is going to be to center my image onto the bar. Now I'm doing this by looking at the bleed. My print file has a bleed in it that's going about 1/4 of an inch around the back of the bar. So I'm looking to see that my bleed is balanced here, and that tells me that my image is centered on the bar. So that looks good. That looks good. Let's check it one more time. It's very important that your first staples go in the correct position. You want to have this thing nicely centered on here. So there we go. That looks good. Good. Alright, so let's get going here. Now my first move is I'm going to put a staple in the corner on the short end, and then I'm going to grasp the opposite corner and I'm going to pull tightly away from this staple with my thumb and my forefinger. So there we go. Nice. Now I'm going to staple the entire short end down. Great. Now I'm going to stretch the opposing edge. Now before I stretch, I'm going to check one more time and make sure I'm centered on my image the long way. So that looks good, and that looks good. So now I'm ready to begin stretching. So I'm going to grasp the canvas with the stretch relief, snap the tool shut. Now I'm lining up the fulcrum, the pivoting point for stretching, at a 90-degree angle to the canvas, and I have the up against the inside of the stretcher bar here, and that's going to give me my maximum stretch. So here we go. Give it a stretch. Great. Alright, I'm going to move over here. Now you can see what the notch on the side of the fulcrum gives me the ability to stretch on top of the stretcher bar. And it doesn't take any hand strength. The tool's doing all the work for me. I can stretch with 2 fingers. Great. Looks good. So here I'm going to come over and finish the other end up here. That's good. Let's finish that stretch up here. Very good. Now my next move is I'm going to trim the end of the canvas off on the short end here. And what that's going to do is it's going to get rid of the canvas on the inside of the gallery wrap. So I'm removing this excess material here, and it's going to make my wrap come out a lot cleaner. So I'm running my box cutter along the inside of the stretcher bar, and I'm being really careful. Obviously, you don't want to slip because that would be a disaster. That looks good. And then I'm going to relieve the material here. Looks good. Great. Now I can begin stretching on the long edge. So I'm going to bring the canvas up, check it, looks good, still centered. Now my first stretch on the long edge, I don't want to apply too much pressure. The reason is this is just an anchoring move. I'm not stapled down on the opposite edge here, so I want to just give it a very slight little tension. It's an anchoring move. And I'll do the same over here. Great. I can flip it around and give it a full stretch. You don't want to give it the full force of the stretch until you're stapled on the opposite edge. So there we go. Looks good. Now I can give it a good stretch. Again, it doesn't take any hand strength. I'm doing it with 2 fingers. Right. I'm going to work my way out a little bit more, but I'm being aware that to leave plenty of room at the end. I'm going to leave about 4 to 5 inches on each end. And this is going to give me plenty of room to do the gallery wrap, to get in and prepare the canvas for wrapping. If you shoot the staple out too far, you'll run out of room to work in here. Great, looks good. So let's give it a good stretch over here. Nice. 2 fingers, that's all it takes. Tool's doing all the work for me. Great. And another stretch here. Looks good. Now I'm going to prepare the corners for gallery wrapping. The way I'm going to do that is I'm going to come in here and I'm going to create a fold with my thumb. I'm pushing in and I've got a nice fold, and then I'm going to fold it back around here. Now I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to alleviate some of the material in here. Good, that looks good. Now I'm being aware as I'm cutting to stay away from my mark because I want to have a nice fold in here. Great, that looks good. So I'll do this other one here. Looks good. I'm going to trim it. Great. Very good. And this other one here. Looks great. Staying inside of my mark. Very good. And one more. There we go. Looks good. One thing I'm being aware of when I'm folding my corners and preparing it is I'm bringing my fold all the way to the front edge of the corner here. So when you're wrapping it and it folds, the folded corner starts right at the front of the stretcher bar. That looks nicest. So great, all good. Looks good. Fold this one in. Nice. All right, now we're ready to complete the stretch. Now, one of the other things you want to be aware of when you're folding your corner in is tapering the canvas back from the edge slightly. It looks better when it hangs on the wall if this material disappears slightly in here. So I'm being aware of that. And then the other thing that the stretch relief is going to do to you is it's going to grab on top of the stretcher bar and pull the corner tight for you. So no more struggling to get tight corners. The tool is going to do that for you very easily. Great. And I'm going to just tack the end down here. Looks good. And I'll do the other side here. Right. Looks good. Just give it a tug. Very easy. Only a couple of fingers is all I need. And then I'm going to complete the wrap over here. Right. I'll tack it down on the end. Fold this away just slightly. Looks good. Very nice. And then I'll tack this one down. Great, looks good. And then I'll complete this one. Great, beautiful. Very good. And I'll tack it down on the end. Taper it away slightly. Looks good. Now my last move here is I'm going to trim the canvas off. And I'll do that with my box cutter, running it along the inside of the bar. Again, being very careful to guide the cutter carefully so I'm not going to slip and have a disaster. Great, looks good. There. Get that trimmed up. Beautiful. There we go. Looks good. All right. Great. There it is. Let's see what we got. Tight as a drum. Every time. Stretch Relief is going to make your gallery wrapping life very quick and very easy.